Mad Max 2, The Road Warrior, sometimes referred to as just Mad Max 2 or just The Road Warrior, often confused with the first film given that this is the more traditional Mad Max story you think of, and due to the first film having a very limited release in the US. The film begins telling us about the apocalypse and a very quick recap of the first film. Depending on who you want to believe, it's either the apocalypse happened slightly before the first film or in between this and the first film. Undeterminate amount of time after the first film, but the director said 5 years, and that is nowhere in the actual film, we see Max and he's getting chased by raiders. This opening chase is incredibly iconic, basically setting the entire apocalypse genre and the whole franchise itself, all the chasing and hot rods and weird outfits made from scraps. Just this one shot of Max with the dog is probably one of the most influential photos in film. Oh yeah, Max found a blue healer because Australia.
Hooray!
But he's low on gas. So he slows down as the two idiots chasing him shoot each other. Some cars crash and it's time to loot. But oh no, the guy on the bike with the mohawk is fine. Just gotta pull that arrow out of his arm. He's Wes, played by the best Power Ranger villain, Rancic. The guy riding bitch with him is his boyfriend, known as the Golden Youth. He was originally supposed to be female, and of course a lot of people who watch this film like to pretend that the two guys wearing chaps together on a motorcycle are totally not gay. So Max has to loot faster, but Rez decides to just ride away, as Max realizes he found an oil tanker, in okay quality, and a music box. So he rides off into the bubblegum sky. He drives until he finds a gyrocopter, that's peculiar, but it's booby-trapped with a snake. But this is Australia, that's not even the 20th most poisonous thing Max dealt with this day. But it was all just a distraction, as someone was hiding underground with a crossbow. The guy known only as the Gyro Captain has turned the tables, and now he wants to siphon Max's gas. But Max has to unbooby-trap his car from the gas tank, and Dog turns the tables on him. But Gyro says he knows a place that has gas. So Max lets him ride, but Dog has an eye on him. They make it there, but oh no, the settlement is in need of help, as it's being circled by dudes in go-karts. So they decide to camp out for the night, having delicious canned dog food. Well, you know, if it's good enough for the dog, it's good enough for people. They see someone try to run the settlement, but the raiders run them down. Max finds them fashionably late, and they agree to let him in the settlement for some gas, so he helps him back into the settlement. But the guy dies on the trip there, so Max isn't getting anything, as the settlement steals his car. But bad time, because the raiders are back, and they're introducing their war boss. Jason Voorhees over here is Lord Humongous, played by Swedish Olympic lifter Kjell Nielsen, and yes, he is indeed wearing bondage gear. And they want some damn gas. His speech is interrupted when the feral kid tosses his Australian ruler and kills the Goldie. Wes is upset about his boyfriend, but Hugh tries to calm him down. He gives the settlers some time to leave, but if he's back and they're still there, they're coming in by force. Papa Galio says even if they leave, they're gonna die anyway. But Max has a plan. At the negotiation table, he wants his shit back and some gas. In exchange, he knows where an oil tanker is. They agree and give him some petrol up front, and thanks to the help of the feral kid, he's able to sneak around the raiders. He finds the gyro man. Max makes his companion carry all of his stuff for him. They find a copter, and I guess this guy wasn't as lucky as Max was, but he does have a round on him. They take to the sky. They find the truck. Luckily, it's not diesel. It's not that subtle as he plows through the raiders. But Hugh brings out the fancy revolver. What's going on here? Turns out that slug Max got was a dud. Hugh's revolver has plus 50 damage and pierces the engine. Max makes it back in the settlement, but so does a couple raiders. But luckily they're able to take out the manliest raider of them all, with the pink beard, the bright silver pickle helm, and his RC Barbie mobile. I wish Wes was driving that the whole film. Speaking of, he's a real acrobatic dude. But luckily Max is able to fend them off or burn them out. Gyro lands in the settlement, and they immediately like him, unlike Max. Must be the lavender scarf, everyone else has one. Or I guess it's the gyrocopter itself. And it's a two-seater. Turns out the semi's shot. But after the recent events, people are starting to turn around and start liking Max. And later at night, they say they're going to paradise, the Sunshine Coast. Max is still uninterested in joining them. He doesn't care that they sort of learn about his tragic past, and he doesn't care that the feral kid likes his music box. He's heading out, Raider or no. Oh no, the Raiders have some NOS, which has them speed up comedically. And Max ends up flipping and falling down a cliff, it looks like. And the Raiders head down the loot, but Max is fine. Dog tries standing his ground, but it turns out the Raiders are more into Peppa Pig. They're big fans of Christy Gnome. They might be raping, murdering extortionists, but this is clearly the worst thing they've done. Max gets some payback for Dog, as his car was still rigged to explode if someone tried stealing the gas. Wes thinks everyone is toasted from that, but Max is fine, as he gets picked up by a gyro. He might have a severe concussion and every bone in his body is broken, but he'll still drive the semi. Hugh chains up Wes, and with 20 minutes left of the film, the semi is reinforced and they head out. The Raiders chase after. But the settlers were actually leaving the other direction, and they rigged the settlement to explode. Which is why this is a very rare example of a film filming entirely in chronological order, when most films tend to film all the big expensive action shots first and work their way backwards. Max is hauling it, the Raiders keep trying to hop on the truck. Feral Kid snuck his way onto the truck. This ultimately ends with Hugh and Max playing chicken, with Wes hanging off the front of the semi. Sort of a recreation of Toe Cutter's death in the first film. Hugh does not pull away as they collide and his truck is turned into a paperweight. But this also flips the semi. But twist! It was actually full of dirt. And the settlers have all the gas. They meet back up to pick up the feral kid, but Max stays in the waste, where he belongs. Also, the narrator might be the feral kid. This is an iconic film and it's definitely worth your time seeing. Everything from the costumes being thrown together, from football pads and BDSM gear, to all the hot rods, everything in this film is just iconic, even more so than the first film. Max has roughly 20 lines in the entire film, and he still manages to be a really cool character, not needing to constantly ask about everything and not needing to constantly talk, which I always appreciate visual storytelling over than just them explaining everything. We don't learn most of the characters' names because Max doesn't, and that actually adds a lot of interest to these characters, which are already interesting with their unique costumes. The acting's great, the action's amazing. Overall, you need to see this film. 8.5 out of 10. Well, what do you guys think? Make sure to smash that like button, share with your friends, comment your own thoughts and opinions about the movie itself, and subscribe if you're new.